G'day guys, what's going on? I thought I would make this video today, a little My Country episode on the podcast about a crocodile skull that was flogged. It was stolen from the WA Museum, so Western Australian Museum. So police on the hunt for thief who stole 42 kilogram croc skull from WA Museum. Now, obviously, saltwater crocs in Australia are the biggest crocodiles in the world. They're not just found in Australia, they're found all throughout Southeast Asia. There's a lot of misconceptions about them that we'll talk about, we'll hopefully get to in this episode. But yeah, check that out. 42 kilos was the weight of this crocodile skull. So that goes to show just how big they are and how robust, how strong, how dense, how heavy their bony skulls are. So police were on the hunt for a 42 kilogram saltwater crocodile skull stolen from the museum in WA's Kimberley. The skull was stolen from the Kununurra Museum in the early hours of Sunday morning. In a statement posted to Facebook, the museum called for the public's help to return the item. Sadly, we lost an iconic display that has been enjoyed by thousands and thousands of visitors to the museum in the past 15 years, the post read. Over the long weekend, some incredibly self-centered, irresponsible, selfish person or persons have stolen our saltwater Crocodylus porosus skull. Crocodylus porosus is the scientific name there. The post stated that the 4.8 meter crocodile was shot by Hugo Osler at the Lower Ord River in the East Kimberleys in the 1960s. So that's crazy. This crocodile was actually only almost 5 meters long, and yet it had a head that was 42 kilos, which is insane. But I've heard that, back in the time before Europeans were in Australia, there were crocs that were, beyond 7 meters, potentially 8 meters long. So Hugo approached the museum here. What has it got here? Hugo approached Kangaroo Historical Society stalwarts Bill and Judy Withers and swapped the skull for an engagement ring. Okay, so when the guy donated it, he obviously swapped it for a ring instead. So yeah, crazy. Obviously they're after this skull. Someone's gone in and nicked it. They flogged it at 4 a.m. on January the 27th. It is definitely quite unique, and given that it is unique, we are hoping that it is going to show up, or a member of the public is going to be able to point us in the right direction of where we might be able to find the croc skull. We are thinking a 42 kilogram skull might be seen being carried by the offender walking down the street, and hopefully maybe a member of the public might have seen that. So yeah, anyway, crazy, there you go. And I've sold skulls from big animals for up to $10,000. So maybe that's why the person's either flogged it, they've stolen it to put it on their wall, to have it at home somewhere as a trinket, albeit a rather large trinket, but they may also be wanting to sell it, though it seems pretty silly to be stealing something so unique and conspicuous, I would say, obvious, right? There's going to be a lot of people now with their eyes out there looking for this skull, and I don't know how many people you're going to be able to sell it to. Anyway, I thought I would talk about crocodile attacks in Australia, because this seems to be one of those things that a lot of people are afraid of when they come to Australia, and for good reason. Crocodiles are pretty ferocious. They're pretty terrifying. They're found all across the northern part of Australia. I think if you go up in Queensland there from about, off the top of my head, I think about Rockhampton and a bit further up there. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. The further up you go, the more likely you are to encounter them. They're found in the ocean, they're found in estuaries, in rivers as well that are connected to the ocean, and you get them across the top and then all the way down into the Kimberley and even a bit further south on the west coast in WA. So these guys are common, or they're getting more and more common, because we hunted them almost to extinction in the last 150 years, but they've made a comeback, they've bounced back. But yeah, they are a common sighting, they are a common occurrence. If you guys are in Northern Australia, don't be idiots. Don't just go in the water without having a look around at signs, asking for locals advice. Should we swim here? Is it okay to swim here? Always be clever, always be smart, and take care of your lives, because people do go missing from time to time. But there was some interesting stuff worth talking about. So Bob Catter, this guy here, is a politician in Australia, and he's a bit of an idiot. to be honest, to put it mildly. So he's an MP, a politician from Queensland, and he has a hate-on for crocodiles. It's sort of just something that he's obviously picked up to try and get votes. You know, he's playing on the fear of people. But he's made a claim recently that every 3 months a Queenslander is torn apart. And the website here, ABC, has obviously fact-checked that. And it turns out that in the past 10 years, there have actually only been 6 deaths from crocodile attacks, which is at a rate of 1 every 20 months. So almost 1 every 2 years. So you are much more likely, guys, to die in a car accident, to drown, to die from being stung by a bee in Australia than you are to die from crocodiles. So anyway, check out some of this information online, guys, if you're interested in crocodiles. You can obviously go and check out crocodile skeletons, all that sort of stuff at museums. If you come to Australia, you can go to croc farms up in Queensland where you can actually get to see the crocodiles up close, usually getting fed by people. And check out Wildman. He was doing some tours up in the Northern Territory where he would take people out on boats onto the rivers and you'd be able to see the crocs in real life. So yeah, bit of information there about crocodiles, guys. They're not the worst thing in the world. They're not really worth being afraid of. You're more likely to die from 100 other things than crocodiles when you come to Australia. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Chat to you soon.